And we're live. It's the Revved Up 906 podcast, a Detroit Pistons podcast to be exact. I'm Hudson.
And I'm Ryan.
And before we get into today's episode, I wanted to give a quick shout out to my cousin Lauren and her boyfriend Sean, because she got me a Jersey Nerd t-shirt for Christmas. And for all of you that are following all of our episodes, it's a reference to when we broke down, I believe it was the top 8 Pistons jerseys of all time. And we famously called ourselves Jersey Nerds. For some reason, that they just appreciated that. Mm-hmm. So shout out to my cousin Lauren and her boyfriend Sean. I appreciate the love. In today's episode, we are going to be breaking down one of our kind of turning out to be a good friend, a colleague, Brandon Dent, also known as Detroit Kool-Aid. We are going to be breaking down one of his articles he wrote for Woodward Sports. So if you want to follow along on this article, kind of see what we missed and kind of break down other players that we didn't break down, you can go to woodwardsports.com and find this article. But this article is titled Detroit Pistons New Year's Resolutions. So we're going to be kind of reading what Brandon expects as for the players in the new year.
Yeah. So he starts it off with Cade. Just get healthy and come back next season knowing this is his team.
Yeah.
Before having season-ending surgery, he averaged 19 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, and 6 assists per game. And we have a 25-5 player on our hands in Detroit, folks. Improving on efficiency could catapult his career next season. I agree with that.
1,000%.
He was doing stuff that no player really has done since like MJ. So we have a stud.
Yeah.
He just needs to get healthy and we'll be fine.
Yeah, it hurts. And I've said it before, it hurts to know he's gone for the rest of the season just because of the expectations at the beginning of the season that we gave this Pistons team, figuring he would be around. And now that he's not here, and on the outside looking in, it's just painful. It's painful.
Yeah. Cade, we miss you.
Yeah.
Is what we're trying to say.
Yeah. Long story short, we miss you, man.
Yeah. One of the guys he brings up, he breaks down everybody.
Yeah.
But one of the ones that stuck out to me was Saddiq Bey, Jalen Duren, and Beef Stew.
Yeah.
Saddiq, he says he's been known to have slow starts to the season.
Yep.
So his shooting numbers didn't concern me much. Over the last 10 games, he's shooting a much improved 38% from 3 on 5 attempts per game. See nothing to worry about. But one area of improvement Dwayne Casey wanted to see from him was in the pick and roll game. This could be a key to unlocking his overall game. I agree with that.
Yeah.
There's no concern for me. My biggest thing is keep being you and doing your thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why he's in this league, and there's a reason why Weaver wanted him. We can't just be impatient with him. Of course, all of us in the community want a winning team again and a chip, but we can't sit here and question him after another slow start.
No, and we've seen his stats get better and better as he's finally getting comfortable shooting the 3 again. But the pick and roll is an interesting take from Brandon because, one, Jalen Duren is a great pick and roll guy, right? And Saddiq isn't known for being a great passer. So it'd be nice to see them two kind of get a chemistry, kind of see how they work in the pick and roll. And Stewart can hold his own in the pick and roll.
Yep.
Not necessarily known for that, but he's the kind of guy that can do a little bit of everything. So it would be cool to see Saddiq also, on the other hand, set some picks, see what happens when...
Do like a pick and pop and hit a 3.
Yeah, so that is an interesting take. And we've seen Saddiq stretch his game, right? We've seen him, his rookie year, go off from the 3-point line, show that he can be a shooter. He's shown that he can be a defender. Okay, now he's shown this season that he can back guys down.
Yep.
It's going to slow his numbers down a bit, but he can back guys down, get points in the paint. Now he's kind of coming back to the 3-point line. Now let's see what he can do in the pick and roll game and show how versatile he is.
Yeah, we should not be worried about him. He's perfectly fine. This is him being him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that brings me to Jalen Duren. He says the big fella has passed every test so far this season. Once observers pondered if he'd spend time in the NBA's player development G League, and now wonder how high his ceiling is. That may depend on how good his defense is, already showing the tools and more than flashes. I want to see rim protection, but be what he craves. And I agree with that. I keep telling people he's going to be the next Superman. Next Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
And if not Dwight, I would say the better version. Because there's
2.0.
Yeah. Dwight just wasn't the same when he went to LA. But if Duren can be Dwight Howard 2.0 for, like, let's say 5+ years, I'm happy with that. I wouldn't give a year perspective into this. I think he's special. The fact that I mentioned this to you the other day, the fact that he was 6th in the rookie ladder for rookie of the year.
It's incredible.
Like, he's legit. But yeah, I think rim protection would be big for him. But like, just in the fact of if he were to go out there and just get the blocks like he normally does, get boards, just be a key anchor in our defense would be big, because we don't really have that right now.
Yeah, and 2 weeks ago against the Clippers, against a guy that I'm pretty sure you're a big fan of, this guy Zubac.
Yep.
Maybe not a premier center in the NBA, but definitely not someone you should take for granted in the scouting report. But against Zubac, he put up 15 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, 1 steal, 1 turnover, and he was 7 for 11 shooting. So he's showing that, one, he can protect the ball with no turnover, with 1 turnover, against a premier, not a premier, middle of the road, solid starter center.
Yep.
A pro's pro. And I think that's kind of what his New Year's resolution should be, is trying to stay around that 15 and 12 mark.
Yeah.
A double machine, kind of what Andre Drummond was in the mid 2000s.
Yep.
We need him to just be a guy that can get that 15-point mark and get to that 12 rebounds and get a block here and there. And I think naturally, when the game slows down for him, naturally he'll get better at blocking and better on the defensive end, because he's 19 years old. He's about how many games into the NBA season? Almost at the midway mark.
Yeah.
You know, the game is still so new in this young guy's career as far as NBA speed. Once that starts slowing down for him, he starts getting a little bit more calm on the court. He'll naturally just be blocking people like a madman.
I honestly can't wait to see what he's like as a vet.
Yeah, I know.
Like, him at 19 right now is already like, whoa, who's this kid?
Yeah.
And like 2 years from now, you're probably going to be going, he's an all-star.
Right now, he's averaging about 0.8 a block a game, so almost 1 block a game. Yeah. Do you see by the end of the season that kind of going up?
I could see it.
Yeah.
Maybe not like it's going to jump through the roof or anything, but I think it could be at least at 2.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think that's out of the question for Duren, especially when a guy like Stewart is there down below with him. I think those are 2 guys that like are pretty scary in the paint. You know what I mean? Like you have to address those 2 guys when you come to Detroit, and you can't just write them off, because you will see like a Duren about a month and a half ago, 3 blocks a game, and then went on a 4-game in a row stretch of 1 block. It's like, you know, you have to address his shot blocking in the paint. One guy that I wanted to address that Brandon hit on was Isaiah Stewart. He said, the player affectionately known as Beef Stew has absolutely answered if he can play the stretch four position. He's shooting 36.6% on 4.23 points attempts per game, which is definitely better than many of us would have thought he would achieve. The area of resolution is hitting the glass. I want to see Stu grab a few more boards a game to average a double-double nightly. I wouldn't have thought having a good rebounder like Duren in the paint that it would be so essential for Stu to get rebounds. But it really is, because if you look up and down the board on our L's, usually we're getting out hustled on the boards. Yeah. And 3, 4, 5 rebounds a game can be essential to stopping opposing teams' runs.
Yeah.
And if you get 2 or 3 offensive rebounds in there a night, that's huge, because then that's quality possessions are going up. And then if Stu's getting a rebound in the paint, that he's going right back up with it, right? Yeah. So I think rebounding is huge for Stu. And, when it comes down to it, he's shown he can shoot the ball now.
Yep.
He has an offensive repertoire that can match him up against most NBA bigs. Now, being undersized, let's go get some boards, Stu. Let's make it happen in 2023 and see where that might lead.
Yeah, and every Pistons fan probably expects a double-double from him every single night.
Yeah.
And I would say I'd expect the same. But honestly, if he doesn't do that, I'm completely fine, because I see him as like I'm going to fill up the box score every night, not like I'm going to make, I don't know. But he just, what he does on the court is different than what you would expect from him.
Yeah.
Because you would be going like, oh, he's just going to go off and get boards every single night. No, he's kind of the guy that he's going to do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah.
Even if that means chasing down LeBron.
Yeah. And, too, we had a long streak of losses in December. Pretty much all of December we took L's. And it started with Stu against the Sacramento Kings on December 16th. He had 7 boards, and then 3 boards, 5 boards, 4 boards, 7 boards, 3 boards. Stu's got to be getting above 7 rebounds, I feel like. I think he just, if Duren's out there getting 12, I think Stu's got to hold his end of the bargain and be getting above 7. Maybe not a double-double every night, but I think that's what as fans we should expect of him. But if we're really getting down to the nit and grit, yeah, he's probably getting a couple rebounds taken away from him because of Duren. He's a beast. So I think he's got to get above that 7 mark, because in those stretches where he struggled rebounding, the 3, 4, 5 rebounds a game, we lost all those games. And I think if Stu's getting around 10 rebounds a game, is that going to translate into all those losses into wins? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I know that our shot of getting those dubs are drastically different.
Yeah, our 2 highest leaders in rebounds is Duren, of course, at 8.4, and then Stu at 7.8. And the next closest, he's out for the rest of the season. It's Cade at 6.2. So I would like to see like Kevin Knox or even Nerlens Noel, if he gets playing time, be those guys that help get the boards. Yeah. Bagley, he got injured recently. He's out with a hand injury.
Yep, indefinitely right now.
Yeah, and he was averaging 5.9. Like, that's not bad.
Somebody that I thought would be a better rebounder was Bojan Bogdanovic.
Yeah.
I thought that he was at that big 4 or in big 3. I thought that he would get more rebounds, but he really is not much of a factor on the rebounding side.
Yeah, I think when you look back at Utah there, you pretty much had Mitchell scoring the entire time, ball in his hands, but you also have Mike Conley leading the way. I think Bogey was basically just known as, well, okay, they also had Joe Ingles there. So those two guys were pretty much known for, I'm going to hit the shot when it matters the most, and they're going to be big. And so you never really saw the boards or the stat lines, but I think while he was there, you saw the stats when he did get rebounds, and you're like, whoa, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Just in the sense that it's a little he's overshadowed by Donovan Mitchell or Mike Conley or any of those guys.
Yeah, and as far as rebounding is concerned too, he had Rudy Gobert, right, in the paint, who's a rebounding beast. He's always at the top of the NBA as far as season totals for rebounds. But even like last night's game against the Portland Trail Blazers that we lost, he had 12 rebounds. I mean, 2 rebounds.
Yeah.
So it's like, even Bojan, maybe that should have been one of his New Year's resolutions, is give us a couple boards a night. And people might not think that rebounding is so essential, but we're talking about possession of the ball coming off the rim, right? So it's like if you have control of that ball off the rim, that's big.
Yeah, like during the other night there, I watched him go up and grab the rebound and then go immediately back up with the dunk. Like, how are you going to stop that?
No.
If you have Duren or Stu doing that every single time, we're getting points, we're keeping the ball in our hands. Our time of possession is even longer than it normally would be, and it's just going to positively affect the outcome of the game.
Yeah. Brandon also kind of referenced Killian Hayes and what he kind of wants from Killian, so I'll kind of get into that. After a historically rough start to the season, Hayes has acquitted himself nicely, averaging close to 10 points and 6 assists, and is a far cry from when he was averaging more fouls than points per game. In the new year and upon return from suspension, Hayes needs to make more aggressive two-way basketball a staple, especially in the free throw department. I am not shocked one of Killian's New Year's resolutions should be free throw shooting.
I'm not either.
He's been notoriously bad at the line. He has been better this season. But when it comes, they're called free throws for a reason, right? They're free. So you gotta take advantage at the free throw line. Because if you lose by 3 or 4 points, sometimes you can equate it to missed free throws at the end of the game.
Free throws and defense win games.
Yeah.
He does need to fix that. But from what we've seen so far, there's nothing that jumps out to me that goes like, oh, he needs to fix that right now.
Yeah.
Because he's been playing great.
Yeah. And he's kind of proven to be an off-season guy that you don't see him. I mean, he's played well throughout the whole season, but you don't see him like switching up his game during the season. You see him sticking to the basics, sticking to what he knows, passing the ball, being a playmaker, and getting in the passing lanes and getting some steals. But in the offseason, you see him make huge jumps in his game. So, maybe Killian should just kind of stay in his lane right now, and then in the 23 offseason, kind of go to work and kind of make some of these changes.
Yeah, and one guy, he mentions it as the bench brigade, so it's like Alec Burks, Hami, Kevin Knox, and Corey Joseph.
Yep.
I just want to pull out Kevin Knox for a second.
Yeah.
There's a reason why the Knicks drafted him that high.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why he was going to get drafted that high no matter what. Because he's a stud. His ceiling is very high, and I still think it is, at least. There's a reason why he didn't do very well in New York. And you have to say it's Tom Thibodeau, but okay, it's Tom Thibodeau. I don't really like him, but...
Well, they just don't have... I mean, Thibodeau is a defensive-minded coach, right? And Kevin Knox is a just offensive juggernaut.
Yeah.
So, obviously, they're not going to have the same mentality going into games because no matter how much you preach defense, if you're a scorer, when you're walking on the court and you're shooting around and getting ready for a game, you're like, I'm going to go out and get buckets. I don't care what defensive game plan we got going on. I'm going to focus on getting buckets because that's what I did at Kentucky. That's what I did in high school. And that's why a coach like Casey, I think, is good for Knox because Casey isn't a one-minded coach.
No, he's not.
He is open to players' play style and sticking to what they know.
Mm-hmm.
He's letting guys like Hami be an energy guy, go out and get steals and get big dunks. He's letting Kevin Knox have the green light, shoot threes when he wants. So I'll always give credit to Casey like that for working with guys like Kevin Knox, because if Knox didn't come to Detroit, I think his career would have ended in Atlanta.
Probably.
Because of a coach that started his NBA career like Tom Thibodeau. I don't think he gave him a fair shot.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And they, if I recall, they traded him away for what was it, Cam Reddish and a couple picks. But
yeah, I think there was somebody else with him too that went there with him.
Yeah, but needless to say, he did not pan out in Atlanta, and there's a reason why he's with us now. But when we signed him in the offseason, I'm like, holy crap, we just got a stud.
Yeah.
We got a steal.
Yeah.
Because he's a first-round pick, and we got him for pretty much nothing.
Yeah, and it was kind of Troy Weaver doubling down on guys like Bagley, Hami, and stuff like that, where he was just like, you know what? I got these young guys with high ceilings that aren't really panning out. Let me go and get Kevin Knox. Let's give him a try. And maybe Casey's the guy that can kind of level up his play on the court.
Yeah, and if not level it up too much, at least show progress, and that could be an asset that you could trade away for another young stud, or even picks that you could take and draft like another Duren as an example.
And I think if I had to give Kevin Knox a New Year's resolution, I would probably just mindset, get locked in. You know, I think when he's engaged in a game is when he's at his best. When you see him go on a 2-3 possession scoring where he just gets buckets for a couple possessions in a row, you can just tell his mentality when checking in is different in those games. So I don't know where you begin with that, but I think just stay focused in the 2023, and I think the success will follow him if he has the right mentality.
Yeah, I think for me, it would be pick and roll. Because I think he would be great in that, honestly. He's huge.
Yep.
So if he can just get the pass and lay it in immediately, or just go for a dunk, or even he gets the roll and then kicks it out for a 3 with Sadiq or somebody like that.
I agree.
That's perfect for him.
Yeah. And you know, the pick and I think we're both pretty big pick and roll fans, because I think that definitely is something that Casey should at least feel out with Knox. Yeah, he's a little bit skinnier and slender in size, so certain centers he's not going to be able to do too much with. But if we're playing a New York and he's playing Mitchell Robinson, and who's a little bit lankier, a little bit skinnier, maybe try that out. Try some different schemes with Knox and kind of see how that pick and roll might work. And if it works, stick with it. If it's not, then let's switch it up. Yeah,
and another guy that he doesn't really mention too much, it's in the bench brigade still. Hami, he is really young still.
Yeah, 24.
Crazy how young he is, given how long he's been in the league already.
Yep.
I think for him, it's just confidence. If he can feel confident in what he's doing, he's going to be just fine. He'll put up the numbers when he needs to.
Yeah. And last night against the Portland Trailblazers, 16 points. Yeah. I think we may not even need that much from him. I think if he's around that 12, 13 point mark coming off the bench, that's the sweet spot, I feel like, for him, unless he turns into a superstar.
Yeah.
You know, then we'll start taking 16, 20, you know, so on and so forth. I'm not so exactly sure that's what's going to happen with Hami.
Yeah.
But I'll take 12, 13 points from him. You know, just hit that mark every night. Just find that consistency. That's huge for him.
Yeah, if he can come off the bench like Ronnie McGruder does when he gets a chance, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, because
there's no issues.
He's one of those guys too that lacks he just kind of checks out for 5 games and then he'll get refocused for 5 games and have a solid. So I just want to see that consistency of coming into the game mentally ready, locked in, because I think with a lot of those young guys, that's huge a factor is locking in, getting that competitive side out of you and making it happen.
Yeah, it's definitely that grind mentality.
Yeah, grind mentality. Yeah, shout out Grind. I heard there's a business owner with an awesome business owner with that name. You know,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Grind Clothing Co.
Yeah,
The
shout
grind
out.
never stops.
Shout out. So I think that'll kind of wrap up today's episode 9, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, episode 9. That's crazy. Almost double digits for the episodes. But shout out Detroit Kool-Aid, Brandon Dent, for this article of the 2023 Detroit Pistons resolutions. We appreciate you, and hopefully you see this and kind of see what we think about the article.
Yeah.
And shout out Woodward Sports. Go check out woodwardsports.com, kind of see what the kind of podcast they got going on. All Michigan athletics, pretty much, for podcasts. So pretty cool group. So we will see you next week for episode 10, and go follow us on it. I got to give a quick shout out to the Instagram.
Yeah.
I run our Instagram. I'm sorry if I probably annoy a lot of you because I post a lot, but hey, I'm on that grind. The grind never stops. So go follow us on Instagram at Revved Up 906. And we also have TikTok.
Yep.
We got a new Twitter now. It's not really active, but we'll start growing there. And then also after every Detroit Pistons game, we are going to be doing Revved Up recaps.
Yep.
Me and Ryan are going to be hopping on Zoom and kind of talking about what went wrong in the game, what went right, and who were the key factors in the wins. Why did we lose?
Yep.
That kind of stuff. So just keep on the lookout. Lots of content coming at you in 2023, and hopefully you guys are along for the ride. All right, man. What player gets big time in 2022?
2022.
Yeah. In this last year, who gets a big time? Come on, let's get a big time.
Killian Hayes.
Okay, I like that one. That's a good one. Killian Hayes gets a big time. Yeah, I like Killian Hayes.
Yeah.
I think he's got it. Sorry, we're getting talkative here at the end.
We are.
But also shout out Dave Starr, our editor. Yep. Thank you, Dave, for editing this video. And if you want to work with him, go look up Dave Starr on Facebook. You can find his professional page pretty quickly. He does a great job, and he meets his deadlines quick. So we appreciate you, Dave. We will see you in episode 10. Peace.